Yo, what's up? My name's Patrouski, and I haven't really been making too many videos on Pokeforce recently. If you're not familiar, Pokeforce is a really exciting up-and-coming Pokemon MMO that is actually aiming for a end of 2024 release date, which in my opinion is a little ambitious, but I would love to be proven wrong and see them actually hit that date. It's a Pokemon MMO that wants to include skills, think of things like RuneScape, mining, fishing, etc. in the gameplay, as well as a lot more lively elements. And there hasn't been a whole lot to cover, but they've been making a lot of really good developer decisions, in my opinion, as such as like showing off developer blogs every month or so, showing what they're actually physically working on to maintain and work on the game. But I wanted to go through today and go through some of the giant sneak peeks that they've been showing in their Discord, because I do think that there are some really exciting things like shinies in the overworld, things such as Pokemon showing emotions, some of the slight skill involvement, and just some of the graphics look really cool. So let's go ahead and jump into some of my favorites. Quick reminder that if you couldn't see because of my face cam placement, in the bottom left hand corner you can see Pokeforce is not playable at the moment. Connection is not available to the server. So as a quick FYI, I'm just on the sort of launcher because they do run tests on this launcher every few months or so to sort of test how the server loads, and also just let people test new functions, do quests. Whenever they do those play tests, you can actually unlock specific cosmetics that will be available once the game launches, which, you know, it's one of those like party hat from RuneScape type things where like that could be super valuable down the line. We don't really know, but those things usually work out like that if the game succeeds, and that's a big if, but I'm really rooting for Pokeforce. But here is the first sneak peek that I wanted to talk about, and these are all sneak peeks. These are all just animations and images shown by the developers with zero explanation. So we truly don't know what these mean. I don't know if this means that you will be able to see like Pokemon follower sprites or sprites in the overworld. They might not be followers, right? Like just Pokemon sprites in the overworld, similar to newer generation Pokemon, to actually go encounter them. I don't know if you'll be able to tell shinies via the open world sprite. That would drastically change how shiny hunting is done. That would be a really big deal. I don't know if this is exactly what that entails. Maybe this is just a follower sprite. Maybe it's just a test of the follower sprites. We don't know for sure. Kind of cute though. Next up, we see some plant growing animations, and some of these take a little bit of while to change. Like that first one happened pretty quickly into the tree, and these don't just look like, maybe I'm just seeing things, but these don't just look like berry trees to me. Like, see the flowers here? There's berries there, but I actually think that this animation or this sort of sprite work might also be used for a farming skill. With Pokeforce, truly everything is up in the air. So it's not just, these aren't just like, oh, normal berry farming like PokeMMO or another Pokemon MMO. This might be a farming skill animation as well. All of these sneak peeks are very recent, happening in early June as I'm recording this. Here we can see the woodcut skill actually being displayed and showed off with the little animation ticker above the head to let other players let them know what that player is actively doing. You can see a tall tree being cut down here and then a short tree over here. That might mean something like different tiers of trees. Maybe the bigger tree requires higher woodcutting skill. Maybe it's just for animation or for the looks. We don't really know for sure. Now, this is honestly one of my favorite sneak peeks that I feel like a lot of people glossed over. There's nothing crazy gameplay-wise going on here, but if we just look at the visuals of the game, number one, the lighting in the cave. People don't realize how long stuff like this takes to code, to plan out, to figure, and just to implement. The lighting inside of the cave is really beautiful, in my opinion. That gradient going out, you can actually zoom in and see things like the bones here, obviously all the terrain, the yielding sign up here. This is a really beautiful mapping, in my opinion, and the lighting especially just really aids to this super cool design of these like warm colors sort of shattering around. And also, even before entering the cave, there's a little warm color sort of vibrancy there at the entrance of the cave. Here we see a little more display of that lighting in a seemingly different cave. Just really cool to see this stuff displayed. Now, here we have some Pokemon showing emotion based on your actions with them. I don't know if you can like cuddle with them or pet them or whatever like a normal kind of pet simulator would allow you to do. I think there is some sort of feeding going on that we'll see in the next animation as well. Here is the next one with a food animation, and I can't even tell if it's coming from the Cyndaquil or the character, showing that they're sad from being hungry. I think it's coming from the Cyndaquil. I'd like to see a little more clarity with that. That looks like possibly medicine, like maybe the Cyndaquil is sick and he's grumpy, you can see, because of that. So there might be a lot more like survival pet care elements in Pokeforce that you may or may not have to engage with. Just really exciting stuff. I'm excited to see a lot of these boundaries pushed. I've played a lot of Pokemon MMOs over the past decade. Nothing like what Pokeforce is shaping up to be like. Okay, when I said that cave lighting was the most underrated sneak peek, I lied. This is probably the most underrated and, in my opinion, extremely crucial sneak peek to like end game, late game veteran players who stick around with the game for thousands of hours. They're adding a custom animation to this shopkeeper falling asleep and then being awoken by his customers. May seem meaningless in terms of gameplay, in terms of pragmatical relevance, right? But goddamn, when you play a game for thousands of hours, when you get sucked into something, this is what helps you stay sucked in. This is what helps you just notice the beauty of care and effort put into a project like this from the developers. This makes the world feel more alive. It makes you feel like another character within that world. It makes you feel like you're making an impact and affecting that world. It makes all of your gameplay decisions actually feel like they have impact. Small stuff like this, to me, really hits home and really shows longevity with a project. This is not nearly as cool or as impactful, but I like this personally. This is just showing the light posts or the sort of electrical wiring all around Pokeforce. Like, most games wouldn't include this. It kind of looks a little messy on the map. I like this. This is something that shows me that the world is alive. It's one of those other things that I just talked about that makes you feel like you're in a living and breathing world. Not that like you're the main character and you're the main hero, but you're just in a breathing world that exists whether you're logged on or not. I like that. That's what MMO is. An MMO is about joining in on an ecosystem and being a small part in that ecosystem while not being the big bad dragonborn main character. You know, this is very cool to me. Another seemingly small thing that does make the game seem way more alive, in my opinion, is the weather atmosphere. It's really good and really mesmerizing in Pokeforce, in my opinion. It was actually something that I praised the most during my playtest of the servers. The weather stuck out to me like a sore thumb, but like a pretty sore thumb. I'm not using the right analogy there, but it stuck out to me as something to notice and to be aware of, and it really made me enjoy the atmosphere. Here we actually see a screenshot of buyable Master Balls. Now, I don't know if this will end up in the main game. I'm actually okay with Master Balls being buyable. It's a weird thing in Pokemon. You can only get like 5 Master Balls, and then that's kind of it. It's like this very rare, specific, limited resource you want to really value and cherish, but I don't know if they really need to be. And I'm a huge fan of having things to cherish and being very strict about buffing and nerfing things, right? But do Master Balls really need to be this scarce? If they cost 1 million Pokeyen, if they're a yen sink out of the game, I don't see why not, right? So it's interesting to see that, more of a pragmatic screenshot that will actually affect gameplay. And then if we're doing a video covering something, you know, we can't just glaze it the entire time. We've got to have some small critiques. But even with these critiques, like, there's some cool things to talk about. I really like this background. A lot of Pokemon MMOs actually lean in the side of like an atmospheric background instead of the traditional Pokemon sort of battle screen. And I'm like neutral on it. I do like the traditional Pokemon battle screen, but I do like this too. I could see myself getting a little more used to this. I really like this specific one they picked with all the trees and the forest and the stones. The big critique here is how small the text boxes are and how small the Pokemon names are. This is actually like a smaller cutoff of the image. They're even smaller in comparison to the background, but it's very unclear as well. The very tiny, just like 12 font size Wailord white Times New Roman, like it's very simple, and in my opinion it's legitimately, and I'm not hard of seeing by any means, it's not very clear. I wouldn't say, you know, you can't see it, but it's not clear. It's easy to miss over information. Like, I could see myself missing the level of Pokemon in a fight or something like that. I would love to see this whole situation. Also, the HP bar not having like a bar above it or any sort of connector to it makes it once again seem a little less clear, especially the green on the green here with the Cyndaquil's HP on the grass. I don't love this, but I'm sure this is just a placeholder for now that I'm sure they'll be fixed in the future. And we are getting some of the older screenshots, so if you've been watching my coverage of Pokeforce for a time being now, you've probably seen some of this, so I apologize. But for those who are new and haven't heard of Pokeforce, I think it's still super important to cover. We do see some interesting mechanics here. So we see IVs. IVs are really important. I think if you're going to be a Pokemon MMO in today's day and age, you gotta have IVs shown in the game. Having those hidden stats shown is super important for casual players and competitive players alike. It's just a good thing to have. More information is better in my opinion. But the interesting thing here is the starvation and exhaustion mechanic down in this bottom right section near the Cyndaquil. That's interesting. Once again, showing those sort of survival and skill-based elements of Pokeforce leaking out, that creativity, that uniqueness of the game, which I'm so excited to see. And then here is the UI of Pokeforce, just showing the entire screen. We kind of see the client build, FPS, Pokeyen stuff up here, or I assume it's where it would be, the time in game, the day in game, Pokemon and their HP over on the right. We see a very similar chat box. Honestly, this UI looks extremely similar to PokeMMO, but in my opinion, that's a very, very good thing. If you're going to make something new, take what's good about like the most popular, one PokeMMO, right? Take and innovate. That's what Pokeforce seems to do. It seems like they are taking the best Pokemon MMO, PokeMMO, and innovating on it in really interesting and unique ways, but taking things, the more simple aspects that are kind of finalize them, like the UI, the IVs, things like that, all that good stuff. They're taking it, they're adding skills, they're adding animations, they're adding, more connection between you and your Pokemon. And then the final thing in Pokeforce that I'm going to look at today is what the trainer card looks like. And this is important because Pokeforce developers have already talked to me, I believe, if I'm recalling correctly, about being able to right-click a trainer and show their trainer card and see their trainer card. I've been asking this for PokeMMO for a very long time, and I talked to the Pokeforce developers and try to give them ideas on what we would like to see in the game, and they're very, very open to listening to community feedback. So I'm also getting all of this information from the official Pokeforce Discord. So if you're interested in keeping up on Pokeforce, learning more about this incredibly exciting up-and-coming Pokemon MMO, check them out. Their Discord, if you just Google Pokeforce, go find their Discord. Maybe I'll link it in the description. Yell at me if I didn't. It's really, really important to stay on top of up-and-coming Pokemon MMOs like this so you can be there when it comes out, being there day one, reliving a good Pokemon MMO releasing. It's not something you can really experience again once it happens. I can't promise you enough. It's an incredible feeling. It's similar to how when Johto released in PokeMMO, if you ran through that with friends or saw all the new players and all the veteran players alike all going through a region at the same time, if you didn't get to experience like the release of Pokemon Red or Blue, like on the playground growing up, this is a way to do that again. It's really memorable and a great life experience. But anyways, back to the trainer card. You see the Pokedex completion. This guy's a scrub, does no Pokedex, no Pokemon caught, 1 million yen, time online, and then woodcutting level. I bet that you can see, I bet it's either at the time of this screenshot, they only had woodcutting implemented, or you can see this was October 5th, 2023. So we are reaching back, like this is like a 8-month-old or whatever screenshot at this point. We're reaching back a little bit, or you just choose to display a specific skill that you want to, or it just auto displays your highest skill. Once again, sneak peek, we don't really know for sure. That's what I'm sort of theory crafting, but that is everything that I wanted to cover today in terms of Pokeforce and in terms of the sneak peeks and the things that really stood out to me as exciting and interesting. Keep an eye on it. I'll be keeping an eye on it. I will be giving you guys updates and more videos covering Pokeforce to come. I would drop that out of happiness if this game released by the end of 2024. So Pokeforce devs, I would love to see it. If not, don't rush it. I will say I'd rather see a good product released from the get-go. Obviously, things like text boxes and if it released with that Pokemon UI and the Pokemon names and that font, that's fine. You can always clean that stuff up later. I have no problem with that. That's my opinion at least. So thank you guys for watching this video, though. Hopefully it was enjoyable. Hopefully it was fun and exciting. If it was, like it. If it wasn't, dislike it. Subscribe to the channel for daily videos. I upload Pokemon MMO content every single day, and I stream Monday through Thursday on Twitch and on YouTube at 12 p.m. ET. Discord's down below for me if you're interested in that. And if you want to go above and beyond and support the content and see more Pokemon MMO stuff, specifically PokeMMO stuff, YouTube memberships, Twitch Primes, Twitch subs, and PayPal/Venmo donations really do make or break my channel, and they allow me to be here, and I can't thank you guys enough for that. Have a great day. I will see you all later. Enjoy Pokemon. Peace Arena. Hey, thanks so much for watching the entire video all the way to the end. I really appreciate that, and I hope it was a positive asset to your day. And I also want to quickly say extra thank you to everybody whose name is on this list and goes above and beyond and allows me to do what I do. Thank you very much. Have a good one.